Hi. I don't know if you've ever had a friend who's recommended that you run out to a certain restaurant, or you read a book that she loved, or you go see a movie and you do what she suggested, and then you get back to her and you say, I didn't love it. Or that's how it often is for me. I get the list of Academy Award film nominations every year, and I'm all excited to see them. And invariably, some of them, I just don't get why they're chosen for Best Picture. And that's the way it is with books. I think this month I had an off month. I read 7 books and I didn't like all of them. And I have a policy when I do this monthly post for 60andMe that I only write about books that I truly liked and can recommend. I'm not going to write a bad review for an author. I just don't think that's fair. They put an awful lot of work into their books, and chances are someone else will really enjoy whatever they've written. So anyway, long story short, or short story long, I only have 4 books to recommend this month, but they're really good ones, and I'm excited to share them with you. My name is Pam Lamp. I write a blog called Who I Met Today, and I share stories on that blog of people that I've interviewed who do things that I want to learn more about. It's great fun. A couple of years ago, around this time of the year, Halloween, I interviewed a gentleman who had worked in Hollywood decades ago making masks for movies. Incredible Hulk, Frankenstein. He actually gave me a Frankenstein mask, which I treasure. An expert in baby sign language, a crime scene cleaner, a recipe developer. And I've interviewed from time to time various authors because I really enjoy books. And I'm excited, as I said, to share a few with you today. The first one is called Musical Chairs by Amy Poppel, I believe is how you pronounce her name. And I read on my Kindle, and so I don't have the actual book, but that's what the cover looks like. Kind of light and happy, and that's exactly what I thought of this book. I thought it was a happy book. I sat down one Sunday afternoon, and I usually don't read in the afternoon. I usually read on planes or in airports or on vacation or when I get in bed at night. But all productivity was lost that Sunday afternoon because I really got lost in this book. It takes place in Litchfield County, Connecticut, which is not far from New York City. Bridget is a professional cellist, and she goes to her dilapidated country home to escape for the summer and get away from New York City in what she hopes to be a romantic weekend with her significant other. Well, gradually, she's inundated with all kinds of people. Her father is a symphony conductor, world-renowned. Her adult children come home. A friend that is truly a friend, a male friend, comes there to stay with her. And I just loved all of the characters. I was rooting for all of them. It was a fast-moving novel. It had a lot of different themes woven in. Adult children moving home, which I said, finding love later in life, and having a platonic relationship with no strings attached. So I highly recommend that, and I think that there's a lot of you out there that would enjoy it. The next one, Fuzz by Mary Roach. This is a nonfiction book, and I heard Mary interviewed on an NPR podcast, and she just sounded so relatable and funny and interesting. She's not a scientist. She writes about science, but she has a background in psychology. And for this book, she traveled for 2 years with wildlife experts and explored criminal behavior in nature. So in the book, she devotes chapters to bears that burglarize homes, moose that jaywalk, mountain lions that murder, terror beans and danger trees. I wasn't as interested in because I'm really an animal lover, but I just thought all of her chapters and the material was fascinating and would make great dinner party conversation. I think it's a great book. I know I said I was doing or I was thinking about doing gift books next year or next month in this column, but this would be a great book for the curious person on your holiday list that enjoys learning things. She also has a few others that she's published, and my daughter-in-law has read most of them. She said that Grunt is great. She said that's about life in the military. Packing for Mars is about space travel. And Stiff is about our bodies after death. Kind of an enlightening title. But she recommends all of those. And it sounds like you might not be able to go wrong. But this one was Fuzz, When Nature Breaks the Law by Mary Roach. The next one is historical fiction called The Collector's Daughter by Jill Paul. I read Jackie and Maria a couple of months ago, and I think I wrote about it on the 60andMe post also. Just loved it. And so afterwards, I happened across a podcast where Jill was interviewed, and she talked about this latest book, The Collector's Daughter. And it just sounded so interesting, the real research and the real life people and the subject matter. I knew nothing, next to nothing, about the 1922 discovery of King Tut's tomb in Egypt. So this was especially interesting for me. She takes us to the Valley of the Kings when Howard Carter, real person, discovers King Tut's burial site along with Howard Carter and his daughter Eve. These things had been, they opened up the tomb, they found steps that led to them, opened up the tomb and found, gold objects and just all kinds of interesting things, chambers and stairways and corridors and things that had been sealed for 3,000 years. Now, the woman that was in this party that discovered the tomb, her name was Lady Evelyn Beauchamp. Sorry, I'm struggling here. And she grew up in Highclere Castle in London, or in the London area, which is the Downton Abbey home. And later she married a commoner and became known as Eve. But the story is not only history, it also talks about, it flip-flops with time periods from when they discovered the tomb and when Eve was married and getting older and suffering memory loss from strokes that she'd had. So it's part history and part kind of a romantic story about loving a person even when you're kind of on the verge of losing them. So I would highly recommend that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The last book by Sherry Lapina is called Not a Happy Family. I don't know if any of you have read Leslie Moon's posts. She's one of the bloggers here at 60andMe, but she also has organized a book club, online book club for this community. And in the article, I've linked that information, so be sure to reach out to her if you're interested. At one point, I had interviewed R.J. Jacobs, a mystery and a thriller author, and he agreed to Zoom with us during this online book club. So he talked about his book and his writing, but he also recommended that we read Not a Happy Family by Sherry Lapina. So because of my son's wedding, I didn't get that one read. Leslie did, and she was kind enough to share with me. It's about a wealthy family who is discovered murdered in their mansion on Easter. Did the kids do it? Don't know. I can't wait to read it and find out. But Leslie said that Sherry is one of her very favorite authors. This book did not disappoint. Everyone in our book club gave it a unanimous thumbs up. The twists and turns and characters make it tough to turn out the lights and go to bed. And she said, you'll be sad when this one ends. So I hope that out of these four, one of them interests you. I hope there's something for everyone. Would love for you to follow along on my blog. The information's at the bottom of the article. And I hope you'll come back in a few weeks when I do a story about possible gift books for the season. Not only novels, but nonfiction books and cookbooks and books for children. So until next time, happy reading, and please let me know any books that you recommend. That's where I get some of my best suggestions. Thank you.